Yes guys, welcome back to the FPL Fan Show. My name is FPL Nacho and this is my Game Week 16 team preview video. I apologise for everyone who has subscribed to the channel where I haven't been bringing out videos over the last week. A mixture of Wi-Fi connection and just general personal life has meant that I haven't been able to bring out the videos that I wanted to over the last week and a half, but really excited to get back to filming and hopefully bring in at least 2 videos a week throughout this crazy winter period going into the new year. So if you want to stick around guys, I really do appreciate the support. If you want to subscribe and hit that like button on this video just to share it out to the masses, and like I said, hopefully bring in 2 videos a week, so hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. So guys, as I mentioned, with my team going into Game Week 16, I have plenty of headaches, so I'm going to be discussing those and quickly reviewing my Game Week 15 performance. Right guys, let's have a quick look at how the team got on in Game Week 15, and it was 48 points for the squad, which meant a small red arrow from 52,000 to 55,200, and off the back of about 6 green arrows, that was probably expected really. The run had to end at some point. And a 55,200 overall rank right now. If at the start of the season you told me that would be the rank in Game Week 15 at the start of the season, I would have snapped your hand off. So I'm really happy with the rank right now. And look at the team in Game Week 15. To be honest with you, I have no complaints really. The only disappointment is the Emerson Royal illness. Seeing Spurs consistently over the last few game weeks improve defensively as a team, it was a real shame not to have any ownership in that defence. Obviously, Reguilon owners, I really do empathise with you as well, because you are in a similar boat, if not worse, because you actually got some minutes in that game before he went off injured. Obviously, Emerson Royal didn't get on the pitch at all. And if you are tuning in and didn't hear the news, there is rumours and basically confirmed that Spurs have had a COVID outbreak in the squad. Now, there's no confirmation which players, as of time of recording, who they are, but rumours are that Emerson Royal and the likes of Son and Lucas Moura are within that group. But be sure to head over to your usual sort of Sky Sports platforms just to check out who those players are, because that could really impact the transfer decisions we have going forward. So 48 points of the team, small red arrow, and to be honest with you, looking at the team right now, I don't think there are too many red flags in the team. Sanchez in goal, with the injuries to Brighton recently with Dunk, Duffy suspended, Webster injured. He's the sort of position right now where I don't feel like there's any red flag to make a move away from. But if I did have a wild card, I definitely would be moving away from Sanchez in goal. Maybe looking to upgrade to maybe a De Gea at Man United. But I don't have that luxury available. And you guys know I'm not a big fan of transfers with goalkeepers. Defensively, I know a lot of people talking right now about the big at the back being dead. This is classic FPL where you get a big moment, a shift in one direction, that being big at the back. A few poor game weeks for these assets and people decide to move away from them. It always ebbs and flows in FPL. 1 minute the midfielders will be the go-to part of the game, next will be the defenders. I really do think staying consistent with the likes of Trent, Cancelo and James over the longer term will definitely reap those rewards. Midfield, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but Mbeumo, that's Mbeumo, returned an assist. Now, I know it was only an assist, but I will take it every day of the week and run off the back of what he has been mainly a troll so far this season. Those 5 points are absolute gold dust in this team off the back of some poor performances elsewhere. And same goes for Rafinha at Leeds, who could be his last show in my team with these awful Leeds fixtures coming up. Salah doing Salah things and Jota missing that woeful chance against Wolves. Still can't believe he missed that. Probably the miss of the season, I would say. And up front, Kane, consistently doing Kane really, being crap. Being awful, but I do think that he is slowly getting back to his ways under Conte, but unfortunately the output just isn't there right now, and I do understand why managers are moving away from him. And Antonio getting basically assist of the season if you haven't seen it. So that's a wrap up of the team, how it got on in Game Week 15. Let's have a look at some of the talking points right now and then look at my Game Week 16 team and plans. One of the biggest talking points going into Game Week 16 is if you are a Harry Kane owner right now, what to do with him. And I know right now the basic market movers is doing Harry Kane to Cristiano Ronaldo. And that's mainly because of the similarity in prices that they both have. And keeping that premium striker spot in your teams is obviously a priority for some managers. So moving to Cristiano Ronaldo just seems like the ideal transfer going forward. So I decided to bring up Fantasy Football Fix's player heat maps. Big shout out to Fantasy Football Fix. If you haven't already, be sure to check them out. Link in the bio. I decided to compare Harry Kane and Ronaldo over the last 3 game weeks, because with Harry Kane under Conte, with a new system in place, I really want to deep dive into how he's been performing over the last 3 game weeks. Now, it's worth mentioning, game weeks 13, 14 and 15, while Kane has played in every minute of those, Ronaldo's only played 205 minutes. So it's worth noting that. And in this section, I will come down to the stats per 90 so we can get a real idea on how they're performing per 90 rather than over their minutes, because they're a little bit skewed right now because they are different. But you can see there, points per game over the last 3 game weeks. Ronaldo on 5, Harry Kane on 2. Now, of course, this is very small sample size, but with Conte being in charge over this period, this is all the sort of information I'm really interested right now, and I appreciate it is a little short term. Now, quickly looking at the touch heat map for both players. And remember, Harry Kane has played more minutes than Ronaldo over this period. And it really isn't pleasant viewing to see from Harry Kane. Plenty and plenty of touches in the middle final third. But really, those touches in the box are really not what we want to see as an owner. And obviously me owning him for the past few game weeks. You can see more of his touches are actually coming in the centre circle rather than anywhere in the box. Whereas Cristiano Ronaldo, no surprises, you can see a big heat map in the 18-yard box, which again, with him being a goal-scoring poacher, this isn't a surprise and something that we should be seeing on Harry Kane's touch map, but clearly isn't getting into those areas enough in comparison to Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, as I mentioned, I want to come down to the stats per 90s. I really think this is the better reference point while they are having different minutes over this period. And I really wanted to look at these stats and, as a Harry Kane owner, see a little bit of glimmer of hope really going forward, because although Harry Kane hasn't been delivering, if he had a higher XG than Ronaldo or higher shots volume, then I could be tempted to hold on for Kane. But right now, looking at these underlying stats, they are not pleasant viewing at all. Now, we know Harry Kane hasn't scored over the last 3 game weeks, and we see there Ronaldo averaging 0.88 per 90. And again, it's only over a very small sample size, so please only take this with a pinch of salt. But the expected goals there, Harry Kane 0.25 per 90 in comparison to Ronaldo's 0.84. And the shots, again, Ronaldo almost would double the amount of shots than Harry Kane, and shots on target double that, and shots in the box double that, if not triple that. So when we are looking at these underlying stats, I really wanted to see something for Harry Kane to really make it worthwhile holding on. But looking at it right now, I really can't put off managers moving away from Kane to Ronaldo, especially with the favourable United fixtures coming up. Now, optimistic me being, I do think that Harry Kane is going to return to some form going forward. But the big issue right now is with the COVID concerns at Spurs. If the likes of Emerson Royal, Son, or even Lucas Moura are ruled out, that's really going to hinder the dynamic of this Spurs side. Now, will Harry Kane step up? He might do, but I think this is another reason to sell Harry Kane going into game week 16. And although I really want to hold him, I just can't see a reason to do that. So if you are a Harry Kane owner right now, I think a sideways move to Ronaldo is really viable. And otherwise, coming down into the cheaper assets, maybe at Watford, or even someone like Antonio, is going to free up so many funds to invest in other areas in your team. Right guys, so option 1 of my potential transfers is this here. Now, it's worth mentioning, 2 free transfers and 1.4 million in the bank gives me plenty of flexibility with my squad. And I know a lot of managers right now are seeing the potential price changes tonight, following days, and with that Friday deadline, getting twitchy fingers about potentially making their moves early doors to avoid these potential price changes. But with this recent COVID news, with the lack of information right now and injuries, although I do think there is value sometimes in going early to avoid the price changes and missing out, I really do think that over the course of the season, making those transfers closer to the deadline is going to pay itself in the longer term. So that is the strategy that I'm still taking, even though I know I'm going to be missing out on potential price rises of Ronaldo and fallers of Harry Kane. So Option one here is basically the Spurs have COVID situation. And basically the assumption of being Emerson Royal is out with COVID and Kane basically being hindered by the injuries or absences through COVID. So as I mentioned, 1.4 million in the bank. The option here is to do Harry Kane to Ronaldo, which basically keeps my structure in the side of a premium forward balanced with a mid-price and a budget forward, all playing assets. And it leaves me with quite a weaker midfield when I look at the likes of Mbeumo, Brownhill and Rafinha. But what it does do is it removes Emerson Royal from my side and upgrades Alonso into my team. Now, again, this is definitely a move that I am considering, mainly because I am confident that Chelsea are going to return to their defensive ways at the start of the season. And I know Alonso right now being flagged. Hopefully we get more information off the back of the Champions League game, whether he is available for game week 16. But I still think that Alonso is the go-to pick in this Chelsea defence from a value perspective at 5.7 million. And I know a lot of managers right now are worried about his performances and whether he could get rotated, but I still don't think that is going to happen. And the big debate right now is Alonso or Rudiger. Now, I like Rudiger as an option, but I just think the ceiling that Alonso possesses is what is swaying me towards that direction. And a lot of people are probably saying, is a double up in the Chelsea defence worthwhile? Well, looking at the fixtures coming up, I still think it is worthwhile investing in the Chelsea defence. So right now, option one is Harry Kane to Ronaldo and selling Emerson Royal to Alonso. Now, the big thing here is I would be very tempted to make a -4. And that would be Rafinha down into West Ham's Bowen. Now, I would have plenty of funds available. I think that would leave me about 0.7 million in the bank. And while it would have a -4 impact on my team, I think over the longer term, looking at Rafinha's really tricky fixtures going forward, I think I definitely could pay dividends over the longer term. So, although I like this move of the 2 free transfers, I really am tempted to make that extra transfer and go Rafinha to Bowen to really spread the cost over my team. Okay then, so the option 2 is basically, I'm going to call it, I've lost my mind and I'm still trusting Harry Kane. And this is something that I have considered going forward. Now, I really do think that the COVID news is really going to dictate my direction in my team because, as I mentioned, with Harry Kane, his underlying stats have been poor in comparison to Ronaldo's. However, I still am not hugely bullish on Cristiano Ronaldo as an asset going forward. Now, it is worth noting, Kane or Ronaldo, I have to go for Ronaldo as an option. But I'm just thinking about those free transfers. And do I think that Ronaldo is necessarily going to hugely outscore Kane over the coming game weeks? I just don't really know if it is. And the big thing about it right now is I don't know whether I want to waste a transfer to go to someone like Ronaldo, where I'm even questioning whether the premium slot in the forward line is even worthwhile. So me moving Kane to Ronaldo basically justifies the structure in my team over the foreseeable future. I can't see myself selling Ronaldo once I own him. So the other option available is I play 1 free transfer, I bring in Bernardo Silva for Rafinha, and it's worth mentioning, you guys know I'm still bullish on Foden as an option over Bernardo Silva. The underlying stats are still in Foden's favour, and I do think over the longer term they will fall into Foden's favour. But the logical move is potentially to do Rafinha to Bernardo Silva. I know Mbeumo will probably sit in my team for one more game week. And just ride it out with Harry Kane against Brighton, who have heaps of injuries. Now, of course, if Son's out, if Emerson Royal's out, if Lucas is out, and it really looks like it could affect Spurs, I think my hand's going to be forced to move Kane. But I really don't think Ronaldo is necessarily going to be the direction that I go to. The big issue right now is the lack of forwards. Bamford coming to Leeds is an attractive asset. However, with 4 horrendous fixtures coming up, it feels like a great opportunity just to watch Bamford over that period and see how he integrates back into match fitness and into that side. And going down into someone like Dennis with a double Watford double up just really isn't something I want to consider. So it feels like almost my hand's forced to either stick with a premium striker or go all the way down into 4.5 million, which is going to give me the funds to then upgrade as well as Rafinha into a Man City asset, but Mbeumo up into someone like Bowen, and maybe even a differential Man United midfielder like Rashford and Sancho. But the big thing that that move does do is frees up cash in the bank, which I would look to hold over the coming game weeks to redistribute in my squad going forward when more assets emerge, hopefully someone like Calvert-Lewin or Bamford. But right now, of the two options that I've shown you, although I'm really wanting these Man City midfielders, I just feel like if Spurs' COVID issues do hinder them, I am going to be forced to do Kane and Emerson Royal, potentially to Ronaldo and Alonso. So let me know in the comments, guys, what direction would you go in? And if you had my team, is there something I've missed, and what transfer combination would you play? Right, guys, that's going to wrap up the return of the FPL fan show. Really appreciate you guys tuning in to this game week 16 team preview. I'm really excited for this game week, as I really think it is the game week where teams are going to start going off in different directions. With the potential Spurs COVID situation and other assets emerging, I'm really excited to see how teams and the template starts to break going forward. So if you did enjoy the video, I really appreciate if you could share the love and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing alongside that notification bell. I think I've got that right. So it's been a while since I've been on here. So as always, guys, real big thank you for tuning in. I'll be dropping another video closer to the deadline, maybe even a live stream where I get to chat to you guys in the live chat. Really think that could be a good format going forward over the coming weeks. So I will talk to you guys soon before the game week 16 deadline. Cheers.